Well, welcome to Straight Shoot News and our series, The Awakening, Episode 4. Is this treason? And more from the World Economic Forum Death Cult. I'm your host, Bandana Ed. As we said before, there'll be no resolutions in 2023, just a massive awakening that will result in resolutions in the future that will benefit and be beneficial for the whole human race. Just stay the course and remain confident and positive. We're coming to you from the Merrimack Valley, Massachusetts, where the shot heard around the world was fired at the Concord Bridge. That changed the way the human race would be ruled or not be ruled by kings, queens, empresses. Keep that in mind as you watch the show tonight. And the political pendulum keeps swinging, but in the hypnotic effect, left to right to left, and left to right again and again, until freedom and liberty is completely eroded away. Well, with that being said, our defense is going to be the U.S. Constitution. And at no time before has it ever been assaulted in this way, this manner, and by betrayal as ever before. So, saying that, we have no time for the cannibal blockers of self-serving politicians who seem to be either fleeing or defying what is about to take place. You'll learn more on that tonight also. So, saying that, everything we're going to use tonight is going to be used under the fair use laws. Well, we're going to begin tonight with news that broke Sunday morning. And there's been so much on it during the week going back and forth about what James Comer is doing. But the most important thing he said was said on Sunday morning. And we know he's going to be defied completely by this corrupt regime, which raises that question, is this treason? But with that being said, let's start with this, how they found Obama's secret documents in Chinatown in Washington, D.C. Roll that clip.
Breaking news on the new classified documents seized from Joe Biden's home Friday in a 12-hour search by DOJ officials, and a disturbing new turn in Biden's document scandal. New reports this morning indicate some of the documents were placed at yet another temporary address, this time in D.C.'s Chinatown neighborhood, before traveling to the Penn Biden think tank in D.C., which, of course, paid Biden $900,000 after the think tank accepted donations, millions, from China. Also, the Daily Mail is reporting that the packing up of the documents at the tail end of Biden's vice presidency were overseen by an aide recommended by first son Hunter Biden. We do not know what she knew about the classified documents. Kathy Chung was ultimately reporting. We do not know if she was ultimately reporting back to the Chinese Communist Party. Joining me right now with more on the committee's work following these new discoveries is House Oversight and Reform Chairman, Congressman James Comer. Mr. Chairman, it's good to have you this morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Your reaction to these new discoveries, what do we know about the links between Joe Biden and Communist China in terms of the money paid to the Biden family? Has that dictated the way he treats our number one adversary?
Look, I think most Americans would be shocked if they saw how many connections the Biden family has to people directly affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party. It's very startling. And with respect to the documents, Maria, I took the president at his word when the first set of documents were found at the Biden Center for Diplomacy, that he had just inadvertently misplaced those documents. But now this has gone from just simply being irresponsible to downright scary. This has all the patterns of an influence peddling scheme, and it also has the makings of a potential cover-up. I mean, 5 different locations at least. Who knows what those personal attorneys have been doing? And when you look at all the things that our investigation is covering with respect to the influence peddling, there's a lot of connections with the CCP directly to both Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden's Uncle Jim, and Joe Biden.
This is just stunning and clearly has put America in a dangerous position. We know that the CCP wants to overtake the United States as the #1 superpower. Can you give us assurances that you're going to get to the bottom of this? We know that they are already stonewalling. They sent a letter to you and your colleagues, Jim Jordan, saying this is an active investigation. We're not going to answer any of your questions. How will you get to the bottom of it?
Well, fortunately for me, with the influence peddling investigation, we have a lot of people that worked with Hunter Biden that we've been meeting with for many months now. I don't think that's any secret. And, there are a lot of terms that these people say the Bidens use, like plausible deniability. That's a term that Uncle Jim Biden uses a lot. And then when you see that there are documents, classified documents, just casually left around in different locations, it's very concerning. I mean, you see the complexity of this influence peddling scheme that the family's been doing for years and years and years. And then we learned Joe Biden, some of those documents were from his time as a U.S. Senator. I mean, when Joe Biden was a U.S. Senator in 1977, he worked with Republicans to thwart Jimmy Carter's nominee for the CIA director because he had inadvertently taken classified documents home. So when Joe Biden says he has no regrets, I mean, this is very concerning here. We need to know who had access to those documents because this is an ongoing investigation for influence peddling, and the evidence continues to build that this family has not only profited off the Biden family name, but also that our national security could be at risk. That's why we need to proceed. We're disappointed that the administration's not working with us on anything. They're stonewalling everything. They're going to try to use the general counsel as an excuse not to provide us information. But fortunately, there are plenty of other sources, and hopefully those bank records will be able to answer a lot of questions that we have.
150 suspicious activity reports as money was transferred to several different accounts that were run by Hunter Biden, as we know from the evidence on the laptop. If they stonewall you, will you hold them in contempt?
We'll do everything we can to get the answers. And you mentioned those bank records. The amazing thing that we've been able to determine thus far is how many different transactions into different accounts and how many different LLCs that Hunter Biden had that he was doing, quote, consulting work for other people who were getting $1 million payments directly from the CCP into their account. I mean, this isn't the most complex investigation on the planet. Investigating Hunter, the Biden family, is about like tracking a bleeding bear through a snowstorm. I mean, there's evidence everywhere that would point out that this family has been involved in the influence peddling scheme for decades. And this is very concerning. And I think that the American people are getting a taste of this with the fact that these documents were strowed in so many different locations. Does anyone believe that those classified documents, when they left the vice president's office, they just took them to multiple locations all over the East Coast?
Yeah.
It has the appearance that someone would have taken them and moved them around. I mean, this is very concerning. Hopefully the Secret Service is going to work with us. We're requesting tomorrow formally any type of correspondence, any type of emails, any type of documentation that would help us determine who actually had access to those documents. And hopefully the Secret Service will work with us, despite the fact that this White House is not.
So just to be clear, you are sending letters tomorrow morning, formal letters to the Secret Service to request information on who had information about those documents. And we just showed a picture of the diamond 3.2 carat diamond that Hunter Biden accepted from Chinese officials. This we know from the laptop. We know that there are ways to hide wealth in diamonds because you don't have to put it in a will. You don't have to pay taxes. You just give it to somebody else. He accepted this diamond. What powers are left to combat this?
Look, we know a lot more about the diamond than I need to talk about right now. That diamond was given to Hunter at about the time these documents were being transported to different locations. It's very concerning. Two ways the Chinese try to launder money into the United States are through the art world and through diamonds. Do you see a connection here, Maria? I mean, this is very concerning. And I think the good thing for our investigation with respect to how the mainstream media is covering this, the mainstream media can sit there and look at Jean-Pierre and tell that she's not being truthful with the American people. They had that Ian Sams come up yesterday and had a press conference, and he talked about everything but the fact that they had found additional documents. Why didn't he say that at that press conference? He has no credibility. The White House isn't being truthful with the American people. We need to know now who had access to those documents because our national security could be at risk.
Well, is this treason?
It's very concerning. We're not going to let up. I think that we've got plenty of information to move forward. This would be a lot easier if the White House would work with us.
Okay.
But not only are they stonewalling our investigation, they're constantly, if you watch that press conference with the Ian Sams, who's the guy they brought in to fight back against the investigators, which is preposterous because this is an oversight committee. We're supposed to provide oversight to the federal government and the executive branch. It's nothing but slurs. They need to work with us. The American people can see through this. The media is starting to see, CNN, CBS, other mainstream media outlets. They need to work with us to get answers because, again, our national security could be at risk.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. We'll keep a spotlight on it. James Comer.
All right. Our national security is at risk. This isn't complex. He's right. This is like a bear bleeding in a snowstorm. You can track them right through the snow. The evidence is all there. The diamonds, he knows more about the diamonds than he can say right now. The way you bribe people and not get caught is what? Through diamonds and art? That's pretty obvious. Hunter is no artist, okay? The bottom line of all this is, what we're hearing all this week now has been distractions. That's right. This was the important piece to play. And what you're seeing take place, you should actually be alarmed about because even Vice President Mike Pence is running a smokescreen for Joe Biden. He came out and said he found documents that he had too. This is all deep state. And by Trump defending Pence, you got to really wonder, Trump better wake up and realize that he's been stabbed in the back by all these people who are deep state swamp creatures. I mean, think about this. Coleman said he's getting stonewalled. That's all I've been hearing all week. He sent out the letters. Yes. We now know that they're stonewalling on everything. They're covering up. They've got a serious problem on their hands with no one to enforce the law. There's your other problem. Okay, so no matter what you hear and all the noise you're going to hear, until someone steps up and enforces the law, our national security has been at risk and is at risk even more now, because now they know that they've been caught. The rats are going to abandon the ship and other ones are going to lunge forward and attack. If you corner a rat, he's going to jump at your throat. So be prepared to see actions being taken, not only by the deep state, but globally with Biden's allies, the Communist Chinese and Russia. Yes, I said Russia. There'll be more details coming on that. But see, here's how you know there's a problem. This story also came out last week. It was about the President Biden had to select a new chief of staff. Why? Because his former chief of staff, Ron Klain, is getting the hell out of there. But the one he chose was the former head of his COVID response coordinator. There's another problem. So with Klain leaving, let me give you a little background on Klain so you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Klain, he was an American attorney, political consultant, a former lobbyist, serving as White House chief of staff under President Joe Biden, a Democrat who was previously chief of staff to two vice presidents before that. Ready for this? Al Gore and Joe, when he was vice president. Documents are missing from when Joe was vice president. God knows what Gore has done, but you'll get to see more from him later on in the show. He's trying to be a real piece of work. So another piece is Klain also in 2015 joined with Hillary Clinton in her unsuccessful presidential campaign. After Trump was elected, he continued to work at Revolution LLC, where he repeatedly criticized the administration in his op-eds and made television appearances attacking Trump and his administration. Now, is this just politics? Are these people in so deep that they know they have a problem? Klain build, we'll see how this other guy handles it. So we'll know more after the State of the Union address once Ron Klain is gone. But yeah, people, we got a problem here. It's national security. And why anybody's pussyfooting, protecting these people in any way, everybody who is an accomplice to the question that Maria asked. Coleman didn't really actually want to answer, as he's going to find himself being put on the hot seat by the deep state, just like Trump was. That's why some of Trump's personnel kind of went middle of the road. Like I said, the political pendulum swings left to right, again and again, and within the hypnotic effect. All our rights and liberties are taken away. I think they're coming from all this time. But in saying that, let's take a look at what else is concerning and where the connection is with all this, with the WEF, the World Economic Forum, as they talk about AI and its capacity to destroy the human race. Don't believe me? Watch this. Roll. Why would they need 5,000 troops to protect the forum from the people? That's something you really need to think about. They have a small army there protecting these people from.
So pleased to see you back here in Davos, because I remember before you assumed your position as Vice President of the United States, you came here as a senator, you came here as the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee of the Senate. And I have to say, in my memory, you were one of the most engaged and hardest working participants here at the annual meeting. I watched you in the morning up to midnight sometimes, one engagement after the other. Come to the annual meeting 2023. Insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
Until today, nobody had the necessary computing power and the necessary data to hack humanity. Even if the Soviet KGB or the Spanish Inquisition followed you around everywhere, 24 hours a day, watching everything you do, listening to everything you say, still, they didn't have the computing power and the biological knowledge necessary to make sense of what was happening inside your body and brain and to understand how you feel and what you think and what you want. Whether viruses or bananas or humans, they are really just biochemical algorithms. And we are learning how to decipher these algorithms. Create algorithms that know me better than I know myself. And humans really don't know themselves very well. This is why algorithms have a real chance of getting to know ourselves better. We don't really know ourselves. Now imagine the situation in 10 or 20 years when an algorithm can tell any teenager exactly where he or she is on the gay-straight spectrum, and even how malleable this position is. You will not be able to hide from Amazon and Alibaba and the secret police. As you surf the internet, as you watch videos or check your social feed, the algorithms will be monitoring your eye movements, your blood pressure, your brain activity. We have algorithms that can understand me better than I understand myself. They could predict my desires, manipulate my emotions, and even take decisions on my behalf. Developing even bigger powers than ever before, we are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life. Are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
So for those of you who don't know what the church committee is, we're going to play you a segment from it, from the church committee, Frank Church himself, from back in the 70s.
In the need to develop a capacity to know what potential enemies are doing, the United States government has perfected a technological capability that enables us to monitor the messages that go through the air. I know the capacity that is there to make tyranny total in America. And we must see to it that this agency and all agencies that possess this technology operate within the law and under proper supervision so that we never cross over that abyss. That's the abyss from which there is no return. The most careful effort to combine together in resistance to the government, no matter how privately it was done, is within the reach of the government to know.
Well, we showed you that before, but that should be concerning. But let's start at the beginning. Vice President, and when he was senator, Joe Biden was a strong, enthusiastic supporter of Klaus Schwab, the World Economic. If you were watching the screen, you could read up in the top how this guy, Yuval Kahori, was one of Obama's favorite authors. So that's kind of telling you that, or it's telling me for sure, that ever since Obama took office, and we know it goes before that too, so that this has really excelled, this whole WEF. We gave you the timeline of events that happened under Obama between the completion of the monitoring system that downloads data from everyone all over the world, and then how they did away with the propaganda tool that stopped propaganda in the U.S., the Smith Modernization Act, and then how the internet got turned over to international control and is no longer protected by the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. That was done several years after. 2013, the center opened up, collected data, and it was 2015 is when the internet got turned over. So this is almost like a timeline that you can't hide from. And if you listen to what this Yuval said, and this is he's a lead advisor at the World Economic Forum. So he actually said, humans know better than viruses or bananas. They've reached a point where they can hack humanity now, the WEF. The idea of humans having free will is over. For those who oppose them, there will be no escaping what Hari refers to as a secret police. The message out of the WEF is becoming increasingly sinister. I mean, there's no way around this. Klaus, his role as a terrorist group leader, he's no better than anybody else who's going around killing people, because that's what they're actually doing. And that's what their plan is. They're going to brainwash you right into it. According to Schwab, the new internet will only be available to those who submit to the WEF's biometric digital IDs. This is going to get better. Roll this, roll the rest of it.
We couldn't meet at a more challenging time. We are confronted with so many crises simultaneously. What does it need to master the future? I think to have a platform where all stakeholders of global society are engaged.
It's pretty extraordinary that we, a select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet. And if you said that to most people, they think you're just a crazy tree-hugging, lefty, liberal, do-gooder, whatever, and there's no relationship. But really, that's where we are.
Look at the xenophobia and political authoritarian trends that have come from just a few million refugees. What about 1 billion? We would lose our capacity for self-governance on this world. We have to act.
Clear and present danger of disinformation is our conversation here this afternoon. It follows a session just now about disrupting distrust, and of course those are connected, so I hope that's where we can start. I'm Brian Stelter, formerly of CNN, now a fellow at Harvard University. A reminder that the hashtag is WEF23. We can try to put some real information out into the world to make up for all the crazy.
In fact, it might be worth getting an attendee list just to make certain that not a single person who was there this week ever has power over you in any way.
The two most appalling people over there, if you ask me, are Al Gore and John Kerry. And these are two people who have been thoroughly, repeatedly rejected by American voters. And they have never gotten over it. And I think there's a special agony for these people because they were beaten by George W. Bush. And it has caused them to hate America. They hate democracy, and they hate people. And that's why they're attracted to some slime nest like this Davos thing. That's why they go over there. And the hurt that is in them will never be cured. There are no number of back rubs that will ever cure Al Gore's pain, or enough wealthy widows in the world that will fix John Kerry's pain.
I know.
These people despise humans, and that's why they congregate at outfits like this.
Well, it's
Most important thing, and this is the most important thing. There is only one entity in the world, there's only one power in the world that can stand up to these people, and that's America. And that's American voters. And every American voter who is outraged, who finds these people disgusting, ridiculous, yes, but they also have, and Joe Biden just let it slip this past weekend, talking about how, oh, you want your AR-15s? Yeah, well, we have F-15s. And, you can take your AR-15s, but we're going to carpet bomb your farms in Tennessee. Pal. That's what he said. And that's what these people all believe in. They all believe in that stuff. Military power is all they care about at the end of the day. And the only people in the world who will stand up to these people are American voters. Get involved at the local level and make sure that our voice is heard over there and these people are stood up to, because we're the only hope in the world against these people.
When they started taking over every institution in American life that's heavily armed, that should have been a tip-off that they had malicious intent, because good people don't do that.
I love my right-wing friends who talk about the tree of liberty is water with the blood of patriots. Give me if you need to work about taking on the federal government, you need some F-15s. You don't need an AR-15. I'm serious. Think about it.
Yeah. Think about that. Can you see now how these people are actually enemies of the human race? How they actually believe they are superior to the rest of the humans. They really do. I mean, they're telling you. There's no secret there. They're coming right out and saying it. So, I mean, to deny or go into denial or say you don't understand, that's ridiculous, because they're telling you exactly what they do now. Charlie Hurt from the Washington Times made some serious points. These people here hate the human race. And the only ones that can stop them, it isn't going to be just voting on the U.S. voters to do it, is the U.S. Tucker also said, you guys get a list of these people and make sure they never have any control of what you do. Our founders foresaw this. And we've went over it time and time again. They gave us this document. They knew the government would become corrupt. That's why they insisted on putting in the Bill of Rights. The answer to our problems, and they're coming, will be the Bill of Rights. It's right in there. It's going to be up to us to stop them. I'm going to show you more how they're going to move into this in part 2. With that, we'll see you in part 2.